It's been years since your favorite Disney villains got their just desserts, but what if we told you their stories didn't end when the credits rolled? Today, everybody's favorite Disney villains have arrived in the spirit world, and it's time to sentence them to their fates in the afterlife.
Welcome to the pearly gates. We ask all villains to please form a line and allow us a moment to pull up your files. Judgment will begin momentarily.
Okay, let's take a look at today's arrivals. The Evil Queen, Lady Tremaine. The Queen of Hearts, Captain Hook, Cruella, Madame Medusa, Maleficent, Prince John, Ratigan, Ursula, Gaston, Jafar, Oogie Boogie, Scar, Ratcliffe, Frollo, Hades, Shan Yu, Clayton, Yzma, Kronk, Captain Gantu, Commander Rourke, Mother Gothel, Goob, Dr. Facilier, King Candy, Yokai, Dawn Bellwether, King Magnifico. Okay, let's get started. Jafar, please stop stealing. Put that halo back where you found it. Yes, sins still count here. Gaston, stop looking at your reflection in the pearly gates. Pay attention, please. Okay. Kronk, you can come right on into heaven. You had some questionable job history, sure, but you turned your life around and became a light to your community. That's what it's all about, so come share your spinach puffs with the rest of the great beyond. And as for you, Goob, you just crashed out after a really bad day. Since that timeline got reset and you lived the rest of your life as a decent person, I guess we're cool with you being here and playing some heaven-style baseball, where every hit is a home run. Oh, what's that? Oh, you're wondering what sentence you got in the other timeline? You don't want to know. And, yeah, that's it. So, with that, I'll let St. Peter here take it away.
Attention, sinners. After a thorough review of your greatest hits, betrayal, greed, mass destruction, puppy abuse, we're proud to inform you that you've qualified for an all-expenses-paid eternity in hell. No refunds.
Step right up, villains. You lied, cheated, murdered, and generally made a mess of things. And now you've won the grand prize, eternal damnation. But don't panic, because we like to keep things fair. This hellscape has 5 lovely layers of punishment, each tailored to your particular brand of awful. So without further ado, let's see where you each land.
Okay, we'll begin with layer 1, the lobby. This section is for you fortunate few who didn't quite reach those more irredeemable layers. Some blonde chick built a motel a few years ago, and for some reason the Human Resources Department decided that we had to give a few you a shot at redemption. But the guest list has been set in stone, so there's no need for anyone to try and weasel their way in. We've all been instructed to not shake your hand here. Dr. Facilier, just wait in line with the rest of the bunch. First in this layer, we have room for Yokai. While Yokai committed terrible crimes, including manslaughter by proxy and even attempted murder, we can sympathize with the pain he felt after thinking he'd lost his daughter because of the callousness of Cray Tech. If nothing else, he did the bare minimum of apologizing to Hiro and spending the rest of his earthly life in prison, so we'll give him a shot at redemption after that life. There's also a reservation for Captain Gantu, is it? Given how he's an alien from outer space, Gantu is judged by a slightly different measuring stick than the other human villains. From his perspective, he's a guy doing his job with a little too much enthusiasm and a bit too strong a tendency to take matters into his own hands. But to his credit, he had every reason to go after Stitch in the first movie, since he was literally made to cause destruction on a massive scale wherever he went. Gantu also tried to kill a little girl though, so he's definitely got some atonement to do. But we will be lenient towards you, Mr. Gantu, since we feel bad that Disney left you out of the reboot of your own movie.
This is low, even for you.
As for the rest of you, there's a bit less room for growth. Like, come on, Cruella trying to skin the puppies to make a new coat. Fashion's no excuse for animal cruelty, obviously. And Frollo, don't even give us a look like you thought you'd be offered redemption. You know all the things you did. But before we get to dole out some serious punishment, let's look at layer 2, the circle of vanity and greed. We aren't so sure there's much room to save you folks, but with that said, we don't think you're as bad as some of the other criminals in Disney's repertoire, so we're sanctioning you to relatively light punishments for your atonement. Prince John and Captain Hook are pretty bad, but we're placing them here because their mental states are essentially those of children. We've decided to commission demons to shapeshift into their parents, to whip them into shape.
It's my little buccaneer.
The Queen of Hearts is a similar case, having temper tantrums on an hourly basis over the tiniest infractions, but like the previous two, her mindset is childish, and we think that with the right guidance, she could at least find some redemption. A shapeshifter taking on her dear husband's likeness should do the trick.
And always say yes!
Now, if you all behave yourselves, maybe we'll toss some white roses, gold coins, and replacement hands your way, respectively, but don't count on it. The rest of the villains in this sector have much more self-awareness, and they'll be treated in kind. Lady Tremaine and Gaston, you both lived lives of luxury and bullied those you deemed as being beneath you. With your wealth, strength, and good looks stripped away,
And I've got my sights set on that one.
you won't be given any special treatment here, but as for you, Tremaine, you'll get your money back. That is a fraction of it after you scrub every toilet on this city block. Well, what are you waiting for? Get on with it. And lastly, we have Yzma. First of all, we're turning you back into a kitty cat just because we can.
Is that my voice? Is that my voice? Oh well.
Second of all, you were willing to murder the emperor you practically raised, so we're giving you a role as the very thing you hated most. A peasant. No snake oil side hustles will get you out of this one, Yzma.
Best shoes. I hate this jungle.
But I guess we can somewhat sympathize with your outrage since Cusco wasn't too great of a ruler himself. We'll be a bit lenient on one condition. Kronk will drop one of his Spanish pups down for you every day, and you will tell him that he did a very good job making them.
Are we clear?
Now, you may be wondering why we didn't invite every greedy villain to this circle. I can already see Commander Rourke and Madame Medusa itching to get their hands on some of the gems that hide in that classic fire and brimstone. Sorry, friends, but this is not Minecraft. We now venture into Layer 3, the Wraithlands. For those who live their lives in a cycle of murder, treachery, and general cruelty, this section will offer some long overdue karmic retribution. Commander Rourke is itching to look for gold, and just because he won't be finding any doesn't mean that we won't let him try. The lower layers of hell need plenty of coal after all, so Rourke will enjoy a lucrative contract gig as an underworld miner. And I mean, lucrative for hell, of course. Madame Medusa will act as his assistant, crawling in those tight, hard-to-reach places to reach big lumps of coal. She didn't have any issue forcing Penny, the orphan child she kidnapped, to do the same, so this seems like a perfectly fair form of atonement for her. And that's for threatening her little teddy bear, because even by demon standards, that's pretty sickening. As for you, Jafar, you're just as guilty. On top of your attempts at usurping the throne from the Sultan, you abused poor Iago quite harshly. So, like Yzma, we're placing you in a position you'll despise. You'll be an intern for one of the local demon enforcers here in Layer 3. Then there's Clayton, who was willing to both directly kill and leave his fellow human beings for dead, all for the sake of profit and his own convenience.
Have we met?
We have a special punishment for poachers here in Layer 3, the Poacher's Exhibit, where your kind are put on display in cages smaller than those you planned for your victims. Oh, what's this? Mother Gothel. You can't actually be trying to guilt trip us into bringing you to heaven. You realize we saw all the flashbacks, right? You make Tremaine look like Mother of the Year material, frankly. We're sentencing you to walk the streets of this circle in the same brittle, elderly state you skipped over on Earth. Gaslight us all you want, but you aren't weaseling your way out. We're doling out the same punishment for an even worse stepmother, the Evil Queen. Since she tried to assassinate a child just so she wouldn't be seen as more beautiful than her,
I feel strange.
we're going to make her even more hideous than the other hags who ended up down here. This layer also had a punishment in store for Dr. Facilier. He was going to be placed in a gambler's den where no luck would come his way and he'd gamble away every dime he had. Of course, this punishment would have required us deceiving him and giving him some money to start, so it was quite convenient when we found out that he'd snuck into a casino on his own and started gambling the clothes off his back.
No, Larry, I'm the one who's doomed, unless we get that frog's blood in.
He's down to his left sock, his shirt, and some boxers with hearts on them, so let's move on before we have to make this video age restricted. Now, those of you still awaiting your punishments are a special type of evil. I can see the mouse and the octopus lady scheming to gain more power and influence over some of our other guests, and that monster's giving us some lovely torture tips, a decision he will regret dearly soon. It's time for us to move on to sentencing those large-scale evils. The second lowest section today is Layer 4, the Dominion of Tyrants. While everyone so far has been guilty, the remaining villains are the true ringleaders who made life hell for those around them. Hell's full of poor, unfortunate souls, isn't it? Ursula is right at home here, having spent the better part of her life conning vulnerable people out of their mortal souls.
Daddy'll love that.
It's only right that she should face justice in the afterlife. She'll live out the remainder of eternity in the lake of sulfur. Think of it as a relatively uncomfortable hot tub. Should she leave, she'll be turned to seaweed like the countless souls she conned in her earthly life.
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
But if it's any comfort, we'll also let Ursula know that Flotsam and Jetsam ended up in the hotel's fish tank, and they're doing just fine. The same cannot be said for Turbo, aka King Candy. Turbo's lust for fame led to him getting his own game shut down along with a another that he considered a threat. In Wreck-It Ralph, that's essentially the equivalent of destroying your own universe alongside someone else's, then attempting to worm your way into another universe by sabotaging a child's life. Yeah, the more I think about it, there's just nothing reasonable about King Candy's crimes.
All I ask is that you hear me out.
The best we could do for him is an insanity plea, but even then he still needs to be punished. What better way than to make him more of a glitch than Vanellope ever was? Clipping through walls, input lag, stick drift, whatever video game flaw you can think of, Turbo's just gonna have to deal with it during his stay in the underworld. Now, to answer your question, King Magnifico, yes, this is the thanks you get. We acknowledge that Magnifico was mostly corrupted by that dark magic book, but if he truly intended to never use it, well, we don't think he would have kept it in his own house. When he even suspected that his influence was threatened, he gave into its dark power and got his just desserts. Giving Magnifico's vanity, we think the movie was absolutely spot on by forcing him to live out his days trapped in a mirror.
That is not funny. Get me out of here at once.
A mirror he can't even look into. To make matters worse, he has to spend his days telling hideous demons that they're more beautiful, powerful, and all around cool than he is. Then there's Mr. Ratcliffe. You're straight up racist. Violently so, in fact. And to make matters worse, you're a bad employer on top of that, forcing your underlings to work for little to no pay and eat scraps while you reap the rewards and enjoy gourmet cuisine. Let's see how you like it when the tables are turned. Your sentence is to dig for gold in the lake of sulfur, and if it looks like there's no gold to be found, well, that just means you aren't working hard enough now, doesn't it? And last in this layer, we have Hades himself. Wait, hold up, don't you rule this place? Oh, that's a different hell. Okay. I guess you can just hang out with Ursula in the Lake of Sulphur. It's the closest thing to the River Styx we have here in HE double hockey sticks. Now, 7 of you remain awaiting your sentences, and for you all, we reserved the deepest layer of hell's punishment. Enter layer 5, the Abyss. Reserved for only the most irredeemable villains in the Disney mythos. To begin, let's talk about the villains who are cruel for the sake of being cruel. Maleficent, you spent your days using black magic to make others' lives miserable. And for you, Radigan, you lived your life tormenting others for fun. From gleefully feeding your own men to cats to kidnapping little girls and their toy-making fathers to drowning widows and orphans. Apparently? Okay, so I'm not even sure how to sentence you. You take an unusual delight in all things despicable, so how would you like to spend eternity up in heaven, spreading peace and happiness wherever you go? Maleficent will be forced to use her magic only for the good of others, and Radigan will sing songs of praise to the angels and heaven's citizens all day long. You wouldn't like that at all, you say? Perfect! But should you ever get too tired, just ring this little bell and one of our dear hellhounds will gladly switch up your punishment, though you may not like that one very much either. Speaking of hellhounds, Cruella, you're next. You plan on skinning puppies to make a fur coat.
My only true love, darling. I live for fur.
So it's time for you to make amends as a chew toy for the local hellhound puppies. Of course, the older hellhounds need attention as well. That's where you come in, Miss Dawn Bellwether. Your innocent appearance doesn't fool us.
So fluffy.
You're rotten to the core, but to your credit, you were correct about some predators being monsters, like our beloved hellhounds, who could use a target to chase around as training to drag back any loose sinners. Should you be caught, worry not, you can always try and do better tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, and yes, you get the idea. As for you, Scar, take a break from your jealous little pity party. You've been offered a spot in heaven after all, but of course that spot is a mindless servant to Mufasa, who earned his position there fair and square. Should you give anyone any grief, your mane will turn to fire until you comply. Long live the king's servant.
I shall never be king.
Finally, Shan Yu, we have a special punishment in store for you. The massacre you committed against an entire village full of men, women, and children, it's pure evil. We almost respect it, really. So much so that we've hired a crew of demons to impersonate every last victim you slaughtered over the years, and they'll hunt your pitiful human form over and over till the end of time. You say it takes just one man to deliver a message. Very well. My message is, you done goofed. What is that clapping? Oh, I see. We forgot a few. Oogie boogie. Honestly, we love your style down here. The gambling-themed torture chamber, the attempted usurping, leading children astray, all very hellcore stuff there. Unfortunately, the man upstairs thinks you should be punished for that, so we're taking away that sack of yours, allowing all your bugs to run free. Each one will get to take its own individual pick of being burned, trampled. If you want, we could even snack on a few, just say the word. And last, but certainly not least, depending on how you view that phrase, Cloud Frollo. You're applauding the punishments we've doled out against sinners today. Well, okay, thank you. I mean, cool, but don't think we forgot about the worst sinner of the day. You call yourself a Christian, right? Then you'll recall Luke 12:47 and 48, or don't you? Here's the idea. Someone who doesn't know God's will and does evil is bad, but someone who does know it and still does evil is much worse. Hellfire is only the beginning of your punishment. Every painful method of torture you inflicted on God's children shall now be doled out on you. Tenfold. The Lord's servant tried to lead you back, and you scorned his rebuke.
Now pay the price.
And that's a wrap for eternity, right? Well, not exactly. Some of these villains are so evil and powerful that they can't help but try to take over the throne. In hell, even the damned can rise if they're ruthless enough. 3 of Disney's most dangerous souls refused to stay broken. Ursula slithered her way out of the lake of burning sulfur by turning fellow sinners into her clients. Hades, stripped of his godhood, used his silver tongue to command the weaker demons until they started calling him Lord again. And Oogie Boogie, once torn apart and scattered, stitched himself back together from the ashes, his bugs feeding on lost souls until he had an army crawling at his feet. It didn't take long for the 3 of them to realize there was only one real prize left in hell, the throne itself. Ursula and Hades joined forces first, scheming over sulfur and smoke. Together they built an empire of contracts and coercion, Ursula ensnaring the desperate, Hades commanding the flames that bound them. They seemed unstoppable until Oogie's laughter began echoing through the pits. Down below, he'd been gathering his own followers, the gamblers, cheaters, and liars. His bugs fed on sin like candy, growing bigger, stronger, and meaner. When he finally marched his swarm upward, hell trembled. Ursula's charm met its match in Oogie's chaos. Hades tried to burn the burlap beast alive, but Oogie only laughed, his body glowing green with unholy fire.
You can't roast what's already cooked, hothead.
The alliance between Hades and Ursula cracked. Orders clashed, armies faltered, and Oogie's swarm devoured everything in their path. Contracts, demons, even the souls Ursula once controlled. By the time the devil himself came to witness the carnage, the fight was over. Oogie stood tall, stitched with molten thread, burning from within, his grin carved in flame. Impressed? The devil declared,
"Looks like we've found ourselves a new warden."
And so, Oogie Boogie was crowned Master of Games, Warden of the Damned, ruler of Hell's darkest corner. His bugs were bound to his body by eternal fire, their hunger unending, but that was fine by him.
Step right up, sinners!
He laughed as the walls began to crawl.
It's always game night down here.
The devil smiled. For the first time in eternity, Hell had entertainment.